Let's head south of the continent. Over there, civil society groups Stand Up SA marched to the Eskom headquarters in Sunninghill on Thursday to voice their frustrations over the rolling power cuts and demand load shedding be stopped. Stand Up SA is calling for the cancellation of the 18.65% electricity tariff increase, which the National Energy Regulator of South Africa granted to Eskom last month. According to the organization, it is unfair for South Africans to pay high electricity while experiencing load shedding. The march comes as Eskom continues to implement rolling blackouts, with the country currently being placed on State 5 power cuts. Let's talk about the situation now. To discuss this, we are joined by the director at Rivonia Cirlcle, Tessa. Tessa, thank you so much for your company here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, before we have our conversation, let's quickly take a look at what our correspondent put together from South Africa.
A demonstration of unhappiness from ordinary South Africans. Eskom has implemented load shedding on every day of the year so far, and 2022 saw the most consistent level of load shedding yet, with power outages being implemented on more than 200 days of the year. The Stand Up South Africa movement wants Eskom to make some drastic changes, including shelving plans to increase electricity tariffs. They took their frustrations directly to the doors of Eskom at Megawatt Park.
The right to electricity, albeit not expressed in the text of the Constitution, is a condition for the exercise of other rights, including the rights to human dignity and access to adequate housing, water and health care. The deprivation of electricity through load shedding by Eskom is a violation of that right, which is to access to electricity. This is a national crisis which should be treated with urgency and sensitivity it deserves. Government's failure to protect the citizens of the Republic from the exploitation of Eskom and its plague of blackouts has seen consumers incur great cost of living over the past years, with the cost of living continuing to increase. Furthermore, load shedding should be implemented equitably. Ladies and gentlemen who are here, we know that some people don't get load shed. Why? So Eskom has a responsibility to turn off those lights somewhere in Pretoria. You do know that estate, right? You do know the one in Brightstein, right? That always have lights on 24/7. Why is it that those people cannot be load shed, and when everybody else in the country is load shed?
Power! Everybody switch! On! Power! Everybody switch! Everybody let's come and switch! On! Power! Switch! On!
Issues that you are raising, we also want to solve them. Because once those problems are solved, Sonke will be at peace. Yes. I also have load shedding, by the way. So it affects me as well. So you have put your demands in this memo. Eskom I will take this to Exco. Exco will deliberate on it, and then they will respond within the stipulated period.
The movement has given Eskom 30 days to respond to the memorandum. It has promised to return to Megawatt Park in numbers if the demands are not met. Diane Hawker reporting for News Central.
Let's talk to Tessa now. Tessa is with the Rivonia Cirlcle. Rivonia Cirlcle has campaigned against the ongoing load shedding. You've called on people to speak up against the power crisis. I would like to believe that this march is welcome news for you.
Yes, and in fact, I participated in the march today because I think there's an important role that we need to play in getting citizens and people of the country to be able to express their discontent, but also demand accountability and transparency. I mean, we are in the dark literally for up to 12 hours a day, but we are also in the dark when it comes to information. We don't understand the reasons for load shedding, the reasons for the different stages that we have. Government is not being very clear about what it means by things like sabotage, for example. But what we know is that we're 17 years into load shedding as a problem in this country, and we have a government that is highly unaccountable, and citizens need to be able to express their views. We need to be able to have a conversation and a dialogue that is real with government about this. And we need a plan that is actionable, a plan that makes sense, a plan that involves multiple stakeholders, and a plan that isn't just smoke and mirrors.
One of the issues you have brought up is Eskom's tariff increase. Is the increase justified? One would say that you'd need the money to solve the problem.
Well, certainly you need the money to solve the problem, and there's going to be a lot of money needed. But it is not right that we as the taxpayers, we as the voters of this country, we as the citizens and the people who live in this country are the ones having to foot the bill for high-scale corruption that people who are still in power today have caused, for incompetence that have been caused by a government that is sitting there right now. And we're having to pay a price that we did not, for a problem we didn't cause. And what doesn't make sense to anybody is that people are losing their businesses, they're losing their lives, they're losing their safety, they're losing so much because of load shedding. And now we're having to pay more money for less power. It makes no sense. And so a government that takes responsibility for its actions does not then ask the citizens that are already suffering to bear the cost for their mistakes.
And in taking responsibility, one of the things that your organization has done is pointing out the fact that Eskom's problems has been decades in the making. Why is that important to know? How significant is that context in solving the problem?
So as I said, we've got a transparency issue and an accountability issue. And the government of the day, the administration under Cyril Ramaphosa as president, would like us to believe that they are just victims of things like sabotage by some third force that's come and, poked holes in all the service delivery they're giving. When it was President Thabo Mbeki already 17 years ago who admitted that Eskom had told them that we would run out of power and that we would have a power crisis in 1998 already. There's a document that Eskom put together, and Mbeki admitted that government did not listen to Eskom already then. So we must know that there's an accountability issue on the table. But also it helps us understand some of the bigger issues, the question about maintenance. Maintenance has been a huge challenge. We're now realizing that Eskom has outsourced a lot of its maintenance. We're also realizing that in the last 20 years, we've had about 20 CEOs at Eskom. And that's been this administration and other administrations under the ANC who have caused these high rotations of leadership. All of these things add up. And so the confidence that we can have in the ANC government to be able to get us out of this is really shaken once you know that history.
Tessa, I'm grateful for your time here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.